will forgive you. But if you refuse to forgive others, your Father will not forgive your sins. Matthew chapter 6, verse 1967, my parents, Juan and Gracie Dos Santos, fell head over heels for each other. Both raised Catholic, married through the J. In 1981, Mom was pregnant. Chavela was 12, Bimbo 11, Irene told her to abort the pregnancy. Mom was devastated. How could he say that? Abortions were against their religious beliefs. Before you were born, I set you apart. Man, oh man, were they in for a rude awakening. Not only were they starting over, but they also gave birth to a child that would test their limits and different than all others. Mom had family were great to me. Growing up, we had a great childhood, but we lacked affection. Don't get me wrong, we knew we were loved, but were never shown affection, nor told I love you. Bars with his buddies. While both parents were out, I was cared for by my older siblings. Chavela was the one dressing me for school in these horrible dresses and fixing my hair. Were married or had children. I, on the other hand, was loving life. I was too. Then my whole world changed. You. The excuse they gave me was because it was going to be a hassle taking me in and out of school. So I had to finish off still living with you. Get me wrong. Anything except watch Bellas and work on their garden. Around. Forgive me for saying this, but I would often think, if Ramon doesn't wake up, we feel loved, important, and secure. Remember to whom we belong. Ephesians 2, verses 19. For throwing some extravagant pachangas. It didn't help matters any when my aunt and my cousins would come over and say things like, "You're still here. You see, I told you they don't want you home." This is where I learned to fight and defend myself. For the next Finally, in 7th grade, I went home, but life just wasn't the same. Vanessa and Gil weren't around. Mom and Dad bought a new house, and Chavela and her family moved in with us. Mom still worked at HEB. I remember going to church that often. I do, however, Mom and Dad were Knights of Columbus members. In that group, they met some great people and would go on couple trips. Of course, this left me. He was mean, rude, and arrogant. His behavior and demeanor would cause my sister to be mean and unhappy. Most of the times, Boomer would say or do things just to get me in trouble. Majority of books, I would write everything in my journal to reflect on later in life. Then one day I figured out Boomer would read my journals and tell my sisters what I would write. I was different though. Never got to see. One day, Chavela let me friend family to a dance. Her in my life had I walked by, he called me to tell me about his daughter. I shoved him away and told him, I'm a kids and was very disrespectful to Mom would get calls every week from school about something. When my sisters, why my sisters and not my mom? I think what are the people ever ask me what happened or talk to me about walking home from school? She goes again, sending. So I was struggling. At the end of that school year, I was going to. His name was Fernando. Fernando was the leader of a gang. He had moved down from California. Me if I wanted to go to a party at her. There, Fern took me to his room, started kissing me aggressively. himself onto me again. I kicked him and took me home. Once home, there were no questions, just a beating from my dad. He left my room crying, but didn't say not one word. After that incident, I turned into a pop, smoked every day, school, and was headed down the wrong path. While I was in my second year of 8th grade, I met Joe Luna. March. Days later, I got in a fight after school. Having a quinceañera. I was so excited. Chavela immediately told me that based on all, my quince went. In high school, after dating Joe for 2 years, I got pregnant. Again, Chavela took me to family planning. Asked me, what are your plans? You gonna get married? Hell no. I wanted to finish school. That was my winning. Joe's mom, Linda, on the other hand, was mad and never helped. She called me. Joe became tiring. I met another guy from school. Worst mistake. He was. I did not show any emotions, and this guy was crying all the time. I graduated with honors. Field. After graduation, Joe and I hooked up again and started. Not let you guys be together until you. After having Bubba so young and my struggles, I knew I didn't want. And I don't see anything sweet about them. I mean, I loved Bubba, but I just didn't think kids were cute. I started working at an. A few months later, I was pregnant with our second child. And 2000. I would babysit till I got home. In 2006, we purchased our own home right down the street from mom and dad. Joe got offered a job in Arizona. He took it. After Joe was there for 6 months, the boys, mom and I went to go visit him, and at that time, we married through the JP. This visit would be different. There was a group from One evening, one of the wives put me aside and told me she wasn't. I then asked my friend which neighbor. I went knocking on her door to tell her that I was Joe Luna's wife and warn her of what I would do to her if she came out. For having the time of my life. I couldn't let them see or hear what was going on. He told me he missed us and he needed us up there with him. I knew I had to go. There for 5 months. I couldn't be so far away from my family. A Category 4 hurricane coming straight towards them. I decided to go home because Dad's health was declining and my cousin was having full-on pachangas at my house. When I came home, something up with Joe. There were fewer calls, some this point started to unravel. I was 18 hours away. All I wanted to do, I would end up in jail. Knock and the door will be opened for you. Matthew, because I was embarrassed. Myself, but during this troubled time, I had an appointment with my gynecologist. Then when I told him about my cancer cells, he told me, what do you want me to do? I needed it ASAP. I started seeing Dr. Badea Mick and she diagnosed on April 4th, 20. Speechless. All I said issues head on. To this day, I so high, I think I only cried once, but still Joe would try to console me during the rosary, but I would shrug my how mom or my family got through this time. After my dad died, we barely communicated. How was I going to face this guy? Cherry and kneel at Dad's gravesite, asking him to help me. I called him, no answer. He texted me and told me he was at a meeting in his corporate office. They were closed. Went back home, saw borrowed my friend's truck, drove to the site. I started to rev my friend's truck. She told me I went straight to her office. My evidence. She my filing for divorce a secret. Prepared to answer first. As the weeks kids, I have his. I started to see my daughter. Me that when I would sleep, Joe would leave. I had no choice but to tell him. Financially and help you raise. I broke into Joe's truck one day. Choke. The girl gave him an ultimatum. Not caring if I killed him. Came and told me. I was sleeping peacefully. I was being choked. It was the day to give him the for divorce. His mad at myself. I wanted to left me no choice. He asked me one day my sister Irene came to visit or see because she would do some unholy things. What was going on and how could she help me? I did the unthinkable and asked, how? I wanted to keep the girl away. And to leave the rest to her. I wanted to go and face it and my car. That day in court, I had the biggest knot in my There's two. They traveled to God. While waiting for the elevator that was taking forever, I told him the kids that we had up. Months went by. He apologized to I still one time they had asked as the year growing up. During one of he apologized. Church with him. I was now forced to my friend Lorena Pacheco, but this time was different. I said, Jesus doesn't want to see me there with all my baggage. The retreat weekend came. I was confused, but will forgive us. 18 years. It was awesome. Forgiveness and remarrying, but through the church. What thought about it? Although I never His mercy is new. Woman, I knew then that Jesus wouldn't give us different obstacles in life, and I succeeded. of excitement when he saw me. I felt and we would never discuss. In May of 2017, was ill in the hospital and told she needed a trach to live anymore. She could have lived with a trach, but her mind was made. When Chabela got the call from the social, get there now before they tell mom. Mom beat me to the hospital and was already. Irene simply told her, I'm tired. She told me, please persuade her. My kids don't visit me. Do it. She's right. I would. That my sister did it. We called Father Jerry to give her last rites. She's committing suicide. Took her last breath. With my family, I couldn't help. I wanted to scream from the top of my lungs. She was losing a child. Mother Mary felt when she lost Jesus. On our 20th anniversary, this time through the class, we met with Deacon Connected. Marriage and life. During a long aisle to I might just kill him halfway. Therefore, what God was my oldest son, and that he knew something was going on. At this time, at the end of the ceremony, retreats, my relationship in all beautiful retreats. Dr. Rose for 18 years of my life working for an history was repeating itself. Followed in my mother's footsteps. In life, every day the only downfall was going to be that I was losing $9. I did tell him if this grown, I now get so that in me you may have peace. John chapter 16, verse. Cherish her. With that being said, how I felt. For they will be shown mercy.